updates for you around the league. Anthony Davis out, and James Harden looking for an update on him as well. And he is officially out. So James Harden, riding that 30-plus point streak in 32 consecutive games. He's out against the Golden State Warriors. Anthony Davis out against the Los Angeles Lakers. Speaking of which, here's head coach Alvin Gentry on playing without Anthony Davis against the Lakers.
With all the drama that's gone on between these two teams, do you need to say anything to the locker room in terms of keeping them focused and keeping the emotions out of tonight?
Heck no. I mean, it's just a regular season game. No one cares about, it's one of 82, so I don't see anything that's going to be exciting. I don't see anything that's going to be exciting about it other than to play on the court. I don't see it's just a regular season game. I don't know, to me, I think it's very insignificant, really. Anything that happens other than to play on the court.
Did you like just the first half last night? It seemed like it was kind of what you guys want to see as far as moving the ball and just the way that you guys played.
Yeah, I thought we played a really good first half, and from the ball movement standpoint and everything, we shot the ball well from three, and then obviously we struggled the second half. We made 8 out of 16 from three the first half and didn't make one. We were 0 for 11 the second half, so turned the ball over too much. Between the offensive rebounds and the turnovers, we gave up 45 points and 44 points in those two categories, and usually when you're creeping into the 50-point range in those, you're going to struggle and have a tough time winning, regardless of what the score was at halftime.
The decision on AD, is that a team decision or is it your decision, or how do you have to come about
it? It was a team decision, but we've talked to him along the way. I mean, I think everything that has happened has been totally transparent. I think he'll tell you that any decision made by the team, we sit down and we talk to him about it, and so that's the way it was made, but it was a team decision, yes.
And this was made in advance, Coach, this decision to rest him for tonight's game? Yes,
it was. If you're looking along the lines of having any significance that we're playing the Lakers, no, it had nothing to do with it. It was done. If we were playing, I'll give you guys a name that you won't know anyway. If we were playing the Baltimore Claws, okay, we would sit him out that game too, okay?
Is this just back-to-backs?
Go back and look that up now, Jimmy, okay?
Is it just not playing him on back-to-backs? Is that the decision that was made, not playing him on back-to-backs?
We're not playing him on back-to-back on this situation right here.
He didn't want to see him. It's not JaVale McGee. He's scared of JaVale McGee's.
We'll have to take a look at that. Yeah, but
to see AD play, Alvin. You guys holding him out. I don't get this, man. It's a long flight.
We'll pay for your flight back. Okay.
You're on camera, Coach.
I'll pay for his flight back. I got enough money to pay for his flight back. I'll put him on Southwest. That's like $69.
He doesn't want to stay. It's Mardi Gras. He doesn't want to go.
He can't handle Mardi Gras. Okay. I know him. He can't handle Mardi Gras. Okay.
So Alvin Gentry kind of sidestepping the questions about Anthony Davis not playing tonight against the Lakers. We know what happened on Valentine's Day with the sore shoulder, and then he was listed as questionable for this game, now sitting this one out. But, Karan, let's go back to, on this very show, you said that Anthony Davis, anywhere he gets traded to, would be a rental. Then during All-Star Weekend, Anthony Davis was again on Game Time with Casey Stern and said almost the exact same thing to Casey, like, look, my free agency, wherever I go, I'll be there for a year, then I'm going elsewhere. So what's changed in that situation? What can we expect when the summer comes for Anthony Davis?
Well, look, I talked to a source close to the situation, and that's why I knew the mindset and, for the foreseeable future, what it looked like. The landscape for him is to have two destinations, and I think, pairing with Kyrie Irving in the Eastern Conference, somewhere will be one. And then obviously, going to the Los Angeles Lakers.
we can't just overlook that because we've heard the Lakers. You said pairing with Kyrie Irving in the Eastern Conference. That feels new.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And when you talk about the assets that Boston have, that they can actually go out there and acquire him. And you heard the soundbite of Anthony Davis said, look, I never said that I wouldn't want to play with the Boston Celtics, and yet alone, play with a top-tier guy on that short list when you talk about superstars in this game, like a Kyrie Irving. His dad made that statement, but he never made that statement. So with that being said, that Eastern Conference is extremely attractive to landing, a Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis combo. But, most importantly, I think that he wants to exist with LeBron James in a Laker uniform.
It seems as if things have gotten very interesting since Anthony Davis signed with Clutch Sports, and we have some news tonight about another potential free agent in that same class, not this summer, but next summer. Draymond Green also has signed with Clutch Sports. 3D, what do you make of this situation? Of course, Draymond not on the level of, let's say, Anthony Davis and what he can force in free agency, but how does this change the landscape going forward of how we view teams coming together?
I don't think a lot to your point, Chris, that we're not going to put Draymond on the same level as KD and from that standpoint. But we know that Draymond's had a relationship with Rich Paul and Clutch Sports for a few years now with the HBO thing that they've been doing. But it just makes things real interesting that now when he does become a free agent, he can say, hey, LeBron's here, maybe AD's there, maybe there's other things there that makes the conversation more interesting. But then he has a chance to go home and say, now, Rich, I hear you saying this, but you mean you want me to leave Steph Curry? You want me to leave KD? You want me to leave Clay? And I know we're proven, have an opportunity to possibly win back-to-back championships. So that, to me, Karan, would make me say, I'm going to listen, but I don't know how much I'm going to listen to that, knowing what I have in front of me to leave that to go see, well, LeBron, I love him to death, but he's getting a little bit older. I know AD's had his little injury situations. And wait a minute. If LeBron's dribbling, I don't think I'm the same effective guy like I'm the same effective guy with these other guys over here.
Yeah, and I think to your point is you look at the basketball component of it, but I think guys are starting to look way beyond the basketball component of it. When you're talking about longevity in another space and guys making a seamless transition into the corporate space. So you talk about the shop and the show that they have with HBO, and you talk about all these different other entities that they've been able to, build and enhance. I think guys are looking at those platforms and saying, you know what, I have a personality. I seen LeBron make that seamless transition, and we can utilize him as a vehicle to go into these corporate spaces. And I think that's the sales pitch that Rich is bringing, and it's real. Because seeing is believing. Like, you see the real sales pitch, and guys are starting to believe in that, and I think it's great.
Speaking of which, first things first, you have to handle business on the basketball court. LeBron James and the Lakers able to get back to 500 with their comeback victory against the Houston Rockets. Here's Luke Walton ahead of tonight's game against the Pelicans.
Hey, Luke, when you watch the tape from the difference in the first half and the second half and just the small lineup working from the last game, what are the things that you think are most sustainable from that as you now push towards these final games?
The effort, the edge we were playing with, the togetherness, those are things that when we've been good this year have been a constant for us.
Lineup-wise, do you like how the starting lineup has been playing generally with this new group, and what are the things that kind of make it distinct in the way the NBA is now?
Say the last part.
What do you think the things are that makes that group distinct, with how big it is, and sort of what does that enable you to do with the starting lineup?
Well, yeah, we like the size of it for sure. Reggie, he hit some more threes for us last game, but getting that that knockdown shooter out there is helpful. And then the lineups will they'll change as the season goes and as the games go. And like I tell our guys all the time, it doesn't matter who starts. It's go out there and play well, and you'll be in at the end of the game, or you'll help the team win. And that's the more important, the important thing than who's in the starting lineup.
How different is prepping for New Orleans when you know that Davis isn't going to play like tonight?
The prep, the personnel, the play calls, that changes a little bit. Some of where our focus would be changes, but we need to have the right mindset and play with the right edge tonight, because we've proven to ourselves throughout the season already. You know, this is the NBA. Everyone can play, and you know, we've lost to teams that we feel we shouldn't have lost to, and he's been at home. So whether he plays, doesn't play, these are NBA guys playing on their home court. They play hard. They had 71 points in the first half last night up in Indiana. So they just beat up on Minnesota and OKC right before the break, and so these guys are very capable.
You all have hard jobs coaching in this league, but have you thought about what Alvin, how his season has gone since the trade deadline, or leading up to the trade deadline? How the season has changed completely?
Alvin's a good friend of mine. I want him to succeed, but we have a lot going on that my focus is on our guys and what we need to do to try to get to where we want to go.
What they need to do to get to where they want to go, it's going to be a tough road ahead. Lakers 29-29 on the season. They're behind the Clippers, the Kings, Spurs, Jazz, all kind of lumped in there trying to fight for that final seed out west. Not going to be an easy road with 24 games left. 3D, what do you see?
Well, we know the Clippers, Tough Juice, made their last trade to kind of maybe limp their way out of the playoffs, but unfortunately guys like Montrezl Harrell and them, they're playing solid basketball. They don't know how to play one way. But let's face it, the Kings really want to get in, and the Lakers really want to get in. Now, how that unfolds remains to be seen, because you're saying to yourself, does LeBron have enough? Well, he had his little break. He's already said he's going into playoff mode. But are the guys around him ready for playoff LeBron? Are you ready to make those shots? I saw the other night where they struggled in the first half of making shots, and they finally made some shots in the fourth quarter. Defensively, they got the stops they needed. But now, what is that magical number now with 24, 25 games left? Is it 16 wins? Is it 17 wins? You almost have to play mistake-free basketball as you finish up the season, knowing you have a young Sacramento team like, we really want to get in. And I give Steve Ballmer, the owner, a lot of credit. Was here the other night saying, I want to make the playoffs. I want to make the playoffs. I don't care about that protective first-round draft pick. But deep down inside,
he cares.
Yeah, he cares.
And like you said, 3D, like the margin of error is so slim. And you look at, the fifth spot with 25 losses, because the loss column is extremely important when you're thinking about the playoff race. And then the Lakers being 10th at 29 losses, and you said, 24 games remaining, this being one of them, that number will roughly be 16 to 17 wins. And LeBron is all in. He's activated. And I feel like they have the core nucleus, but they can't afford any injuries. Right. And that's the thing that's been their Achilles heel all season long. No pun intended when I mentioned Achilles heel, but, it's just been that situation where Rondo, he's available, he goes out. LeBron being injured for the first time in his long career. Alonzo Ball still not available. Brandon Ingram coming in and out with ankle injuries and little knick-knack things that's lingering. So those guys need to be available for them to make a strong push.
Well, you mentioned Brandon Ingram, and I think of Reggie Bullock as well, who's coming in providing outside shooting. Look, Reggie Bullock, 7 for 14 in his last 2 games. He's only played 4 games with the Lakers. And Brandon Ingram averaging career highs in points and field goal percentage. Is that enough?
Chris, let me ask you, what if we traded you to the NFL Network tomorrow, and you had to learn all the NFL players?
I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As much as I love Reggie Bullock, he's a professional, tough juice, but it's hard to come in and learn to play with LeBron overnight. You know what I'm saying? So, look, that's what we're asking him. And yes, he can shoot. Yes, he's going to play hard. He's going to do all the things they need to do. But we're talking about LeBron. When LeBron says, I'm going into playoff mode, it's a totally different mode. You have to shoot better, pay attention to detail. Everybody has to help the helper, every little thing. Because after last year, if I'm not mistaken, is the worst position he's ever had. He had the 4th seed. They went all the way to the finals. All those other years, he was 1st, 2nd. So now he's asking LeBron to come from 8th or 7th in the Western Conference with a team that's never been there before. We're asking a lot. So that's why I'm saying, are these young guys really, really locked in and understanding when he says playoff mode, what that really means?
Well, looking at a guy with acquiring Reggie Bullock, I feel like he's the addition, or one of the additions that's desperately needed for this Lakers team, because he's capable of making shots. So all he has to do is line up on that perimeter and spot up and be available and ready to catch and shoot. And I think that he's going to provide more real estate for LeBron to go downhill, penetrate in the paint, Rondo, Brandon Ingram to get into there and mix it up, play the in-between game. And if he's able to do that consistently and defend, they have a realistic shot at, pushing the 7 to 8 spot.
Certainly a lot going on with the Lakers and